Randy, it's great to meet you, man. I appreciate you taking a minute out today.
No, it's so great to meet you. Thank you for your support of the album.
Yeah, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. It's in that Walt Wanderlei kind of vibe. It's just that I love the lounge, just that wonderful music that resonates and washes over your soul and just makes you feel good about life. It's just wonderful music.
Oh man, thank you very much. I've been enjoying getting to know your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you. I remember back in my 20s over a pitcher of beer with friends, they'd always be like, what do you want to do for what would be your dream job? And I always said I would love to have a cot on the beach and have a jazz radio show in Hawaii. That was always my dream. So i'm
You
i'm half
know,
halfway there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's always been a dream to be a part of presenting and being just giving people a way of experiencing this music. So again, it's
hmm
it's wonderful to catch up with you. I'm looking forward to getting in to the band and the new album. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely.
So where exactly are you located now?
I'm in Honolulu on the
Okay.
island of Oahu. Yep.
Okay. So it's just a
Yeah. Have you been out
paradise.
here?
I've never been out there. I can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
imagine how beautiful it is.
Well, you can take a look at my background and you'll get a sense.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I just could not imagine living in that environment and seeing that every day. Just what that would do to your mentality would just have to be wonderful.
It's really incredible. I mean, just the community and culture out here has always been very supportive of live music.
Yeah,
And for we as young musicians, like coming up, in the context of like great jazz players like Gabe Baltazar, who was lead alto of the Stan Kenton band, Martin Denny, Arthur Lyman, these guys that like really started the genre.
yeah,
It's just incredible. There's a lot of gravitas to the music,
yeah.
and we're just excited to kind of help to represent it, I guess,
And you're doing
help it find
fabulous.
new life.
Yeah, and you're doing a fabulous job. So before we get into Exotica Reborn, I want to know 5 years ago, this pandemic did different things and it was kind of a regional thing, but ultimately, how did you get through that COVID era and how has it influenced the way that you approach music and life today?
Well, it was the pandemic was a really challenging time for all of us, and especially for us musicians. I think there was kind of an existential period, especially in the beginning, when the first quarantines and shutdowns happened, and there's a lot of question as to how we would be able to continue to survive as live musicians, as live professional musicians. We all try, playing kind of like those Brady Bunch style videos, Zoom in a box, and that was really challenging. It was a point of connection for a moment, and then it kind of we kind of all got over it and kind of quickly dissipated. Um, we were getting more, practice into home recording, and then we were realizing how much we missed being in the studio, how much we missed doing, actual sessions, how much we missed performing for people live. And so in those years kind of uh away from our normal selves, we took a real uh deep inner look into what our values are, what means the most to us. And what I came away with was that um performing and recording are both really important to keeping the art form alive. In my day job, I'm the president and CEO of the Hawaii Youth Symphony, and so my work has a vested interest in helping to uh, seed the next generation of young musicians. And so with programs getting cut in the school all the time, we've got challenges from federal government and other sources for funding the arts. And so the more that we can do as musicians to just keep pushing and keep making music and making music that we're passionate about, that comes from our community, comes from our culture, comes from our our passion, the better. And so that really helped to kind of re-energize uh, what we uh, what I wanted to be as an exotica musician, as an improvising musician, and to get the band, literally to get the band back together. And hey, we're going to come out of this pandemic. We're going to be playing. We're going to be recording. We're going to find some new collaborations, and we really want to bring Exotica back.
Well, I am all for that, and this album is an exuberant example of what a wonderful genre it is. So this all before we get into Exotica Reborn, I want to know all of this began in Boston, and I'm curious about how everything came together, how you assembled, what the vision was to get this group together.
Yeah. So the band started in Boston when I was a student at New England Conservatory, and I was classmates with Zakai Curtis, incredible uh, cubot pianist, and Abe Lagrimas Jr., who is the drummer on the album, and was one of my best friends growing up here in Hawaii. But actually, the roots of Abe and I knowing the music, came from our childhoods here. Um, my family was close friends with Arthur Lyman, who was the original vibraphonist in the Martin Denny group, and then went off to have his own career, as the Arthur Lyman group. Uh, Abe Lagrimas had played in a band called Don Tiki, which is like a '90s like lounge revival group that had a lot of exotica influence. And through that group, Abe got to know Lapaka Cologne, who's the son of Augie Cologne Sr., who was the percussionist and bird caller from those Martin Denny and Arthur Lyman groups. And then Abe and Lopaka together were performing with Martin Denny, uh, who would be a special guest with Don Tiki. So we had all kind of Abe, Lopaka, and I, had grown up with Exotica in different degrees. But when Abe and I went to Boston to study music, and Abe was at Berklee College of Music, we started thinking about, well, there are a lot of Hawaii culture clubs in all these universities and colleges. And of course, we know Boston to be a huge college town. And what could we do as improvising musicians to bring our skill set to those Hawaii clubs without having to play ukulele and kind of the more traditional Hawaiian music? Because we're not neither of us have indigenous native Hawaiian blood, but our families have been born and raised in Hawaii. So as we started to get to know exotica music, and I kind of came to it through through a college project that we had at NEC. Um, we had a career skills class that we all had to attend, and so one of the projects was find a musician or a genre that you really dig, but you know very little um, their career, about their bio, and come up with a fake press kit for them. Come up with write a bio for them based off of their discography, learn about their music, that sort of thing. And so I was like, trying to think like who I could do. And then my dad was like, well, what about Arthur Lyman? You grew up listening to him, and uh, he had a really big role in Hawaii's musical development. So then I started checking it out, and I was like, okay. So I did this fake press kit for him, and then the next part of the project was, well, could you guys, come up with your own project based off of that? So at the same time, a tiki bar opened up near my apartment, and Abe said, could you should we start a tiki band, an exotica band? And I said, well, that's great because I'm starting a press kit for our fake band for my class project. So that's kind of how it started. We Abe and I dug into a lot of the original albums, Exotic Sounds of Martin Denny, Exotica, which is the album that gave the genre its name, works by Les Baxter, Gene Rains, a bunch of other artists, and then adjacent artists like Cal Tjader. And we just started transcribing
Yeah.
and writing charts. And then we would, we'd kind of play them and workshop them. We put out a Craigslist ad looking for vibes players at the time because we didn't know any. Um, and over time, the band grew. It started off as a quartet, which was soprano sax, alto flute, vibraphone, bass, and drum kit. And then we had a couple of side projects. We did an Juan Garcia Esquivel big band, uh, which we called Orchestratica. That was an interesting project. And then in 2007, 2008, the band had been around for a few years at that point, and we got a call from a festival in Germany, and they said, "Hey, we'd love you to bring Exotica to Berlin to play at the House of World Cultures, but we'd like you to do something different from your quartet. What could you put together?" And I was like, man, I always wanted to have a septet, like an all-star, like an Exotica supergroup where we bring in Lopaka Cologne on percussion, and we could have, we could have a pianist in addition to the vibes. And like, I really want to have my really good friend Zakai come in and play. And then I was dating a girl who's now my wife, Helen, and she's a incredible violinist. So we wanted to have her. And so the group kind of expanded from a quartet to a septet, and then that's where we landed with Waitiki 7.
So, what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What is it that gets you up every day to orchestrate this music, to keep the band together? What is that effort for you?
That's a great question. I think one is to breathe life into music that otherwise uh, I mean to breathe life into music that inspires me, that music that I just really dig, and also to help introduce it, to a new generation. When Abe and Lopaka and I were growing up here in the 90s, the music was pretty much completely forgotten because after it really had its heyday from like 1956 to like 1966 or so, or maybe even a narrower band of that, and then it became so popular it became a victim of its own success. People tried to copy it. They didn't really know exactly how. So then the music began to become bastardized with electric instruments and different different pop forms and so forth. And by the time we were kids, that music had been it had been over commercialized and it was gone. It was totally gone. And so, uh, it doesn't really exist to a large degree. It doesn't really exist in Hawaii anymore or anywhere. So we really wanted to try and, bring it back.
So, what was the first live show that you saw that blew you away when you were growing up? What made you feel like you wanted to become a musician or to get up on stage one day? Did you have a moment like that?
Oh, I had many moments. One was seeing this Hawaiian traditional Hawaiian trio, Puamana, play at my elementary school. Uh, and they just had just so much life and vitality. They're pretty old at that point, but just to see like musicians like really like just loving and living what they're doing. Um, then another later on, I think one of the first concerts I saw was Santana live at a Kuloa Ranch, and again, I mean, just like fire, and then actually the bassist in Santana and the musical director, this guy Benny Riefeld, is from Hawaii, so there's like a nice connection there. Um, but yeah, I mean, going to sing concerts by the Honolulu Symphony Orchestra, seeing Gabe Baltazar with incredible jazz musicians here, all of that. I mean, it just you just soak it in.
Yeah. What's the scene like in Hawaii? I'm curious. I'm not really familiar with it. What's the scene like?
We've got a really thriving, bustling live music scene here.
Yeah.
We've got a really strong musicians union. Um, we've got which supports like jam sessions and jazz education. Our professional Hawaii Symphony Orchestra, which both me and Helen are members of, has an incredible season. That encompasses masterworks, ballet, opera, pops. Um, we've got a really burgeoning free jazz scene. that I'm helping to build with my friends Peter Shanlin and Jay Jascott. We've got this free jazz group called Red Nova. Um, and there's a lot of jam sessions that happen all throughout the week. So musicians are constantly coming out um, to play, to hang. There's a great pop scene, and of course, a lot of live traditional Hawaiian music. It's like it's kind of a cool paradise for music, I'd say, because you could have there are a lot of people who come out for the beach and sunshine, but then they realize, hey, there's a scene here, and so they come out, and we got musicians who are visiting from Japan and elsewhere that come in and sit in all the time. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. If you could go back in time and see one show with these practitioners of Exotica, of this realm of music you've loved and you've dedicated your life to, what concert would you go to?
I would go back and see um, when they would perform live in Waikiki.
Yeah,
And I want to see, of course, the original Martin Denny group, Martin Denny at the piano, Arthur Lyman on the vibes, Augie Cologne Sr. on percussion, and Harold Chang on drums. And actually, Harold is on our album. He just celebrated 75 years in the Musicians Union. He's 97 years old,
yeah,
still playing. But I also want to see. There are a couple of other groups that came out of that genre, that came out of that era. So when Arthur Lyman peeled off and he had his own groups, that would be something. There's another vibe player named Gene Rains who was really incredible. He put out two records, but to my knowledge, we don't have any live recordings of him. Ethel Azama, an incredible Japanese American singer,
yeah.
pop singer, who her music was she would sing like standards like Speak Low and Night and Day and stuff, but then she would have just this incredible exotica background to it. Alfred Oholo Opaka, who was kind of like Hawaii's Frank Sinatra crooner.
Yeah.
Um, and there's just a lot of great musicians from back then that I would love to have seen.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, Randy. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you: family, friends, fans, everyone you play with on the bandstand, but you're the one running the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a collaborator, a connector, and a passionate advocate for the arts.
Yeah.
Um, I like to look at ways that we can bring different different groups of people together uh, to celebrate uh, to celebrate music in ways that um, maybe we wouldn't expect it. You know, uh, I, I like to think about ways where there's yeah, like developing like powerful, authentic collaborations. So for example, like on this record, right, we've got half of the record is live at House Without a Key, which is a famous outdoor venue actually right here in my background.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest restaurants in Hawaii, and it's outdoors at the Halekulani Hotel, which is one of Hawaii's most treasured favorite luxury hotels, right on the beach in Waikiki. And what most people don't realize is that the Holly Kalani played a very special role in the development of Exotica, because just kind of a chance meeting, but their front desk man, Arthur Lyman, uh, that's where he met Martin Denny, and that's how they connected, which to eventually form, to play together, which led to the creation of the music. And so I was researching that connection, and I brought it to the Holly Kalani's attention, and they didn't know, and they said, well, but they celebrate live music. They're like one of the only hotels in Waikiki that has live music all throughout the day, every day of the week. And so I said, it'd be great to bring Exotica back to Waikiki and to do it, at your hotel, where this meeting first took place. And they said, yeah, let's do it. So we started to craft a residency around that. And over time, that resulted in recording a live album, which was their first live album in 65 years. Um, they used to have other acts that would record there, but it had been like, decades.
Wow. That's amazing. So that's a perfect lead in to, if anybody wants to pick up a copy of this wonderful album, catch you live, any of the good business, where do they go?
Well, they should go to our website, waitiki.com, waitiki.com, to find out more about upcoming events. We do have a Bandcamp, waitiki.bandcamp.com, that sells all the music digitally. And then there's also, we've got a lot of vinyl that's out. And one of our favorite record stores, Aloha Got Soul, is both a independent label and uh, retailer. And they've got an incredible collection of Exotica and other, modern Hawaiian music. And so we recommend that people go there and they can pick up our vinyl there.
Wonderful. Randy,
They
so
ship
great to meet you.
worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, this has been so great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out. I love the music, and I just can't wait to keep playing it on the show. So thank you so much.
Joe, thank you. Mahalo. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your support for Waitiki 7 and for Exotica.
Absolutely. And